I have dual 3000-watt inverters, and I used my Xantrex 3000-watt inverter to exclusively run my old Dometic air conditioner. But since I've replaced it with the Atmos 4.4, which uses less power, I now realize that I could add another circuit to that 3000-watt inverter and have my power distributed a little bit more evenly between the two inverters. So to do that, I need to add a sub panel for the Xantrex output, AC output, as a 30 amp breaker, and then that 30 amp breaker will feed two more breakers or two more circuits that I add to that 3000 watt inverter output. So I selected the Blue Sea 1214 AC panel because it's very compact and it provides a 30 amp main breaker and then two branch circuit breakers of any size you choose, which I'm going to use a 20 amp and a 15 amp. Okay, I have purchased this Blue Sea 120 volt AC main 30 amp main breaker with two branch circuit panels. And so I want to replace one of the 15 amp panels or circuit breakers. It comes with two 15 amp circuit breakers, and I want to replace it with a 20 amp. So to do that, you pry off these little plastic panels, and then you remove two screws here on the back. You can see two over there. I've already taken the two out over here. And then this little cover panel comes off and reveals the screws that hold the circuit breakers in. So if I take the other two screws off the back, then this whole panel will come off and I'll have access to the screws where I can just replace the 20 amp circuit breaker. Okay, so I removed the two screws from the back, and now then this panel comes off, and so now I can just undo these two screws and replace this 15 amp breaker with this new 20 amp breaker. So I'll go ahead and do that. I actually removed 4 more screws so I could take this plate off because I want to trace out the cutout that I'm going to use for this little panel. So now I'll get on with replacing the circuit breaker. So basically what I did was I unhooked this and this bar from this breaker, and then it just slides out of the front like this. And then I'll put the new 20 amp in. And so then the new 20 amp, you have to get this out of the way. Slide it past this cable. I'll get it back in its place. There it is. Okay, so it's back in its place, and I just need to put the screw in the front, and that's done. Okay, so Blue Sea also gives you all these labels that you can put over these little white areas. If you hook 12 volt DC up to these spade terminals, then this lights up and gives you like a backlit panel, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hook it up to 120, and with 120 you'll get these lights telling you your circuit is energized. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm using this 20 amp circuit for my Atmos air conditioner, and this 15 amp circuit is going to be my old inverted circuit from in my 2014 Unity Murphy bed, which is basically one outlet near the bed, the TV and the TV outlet in the TV cabinet. So I am going to use this air conditioner tag and probably the TV stereo tag as the labels for this maybe entertainment center. I'm not sure, but so I'm going to pick one of these and put it over these spots. Okay, so there's the front of my panel. Now just get started on the back of my panel. All right, so this is the neutral from the 30 amp. So this is these two terminals make up the 30 amp new main AC breaker that will go on the output of my 3000 watt inverter. So basically this is like a little sub panel that I'm adding to the output of my 3000 watt inverter. The input's already protected by a 30 amp circuit breaker. So I'm putting the output on this 30 amp circuit breaker so I can add these two separate circuits and have them all protected. So this is the neutral or the white wire connection from the inverter AC output, and this is the hot or the black wire connection of the AC output. And then this wire here is the ground, and it's going to go to a bus bar just for the ground. And then I have to come off of this neutral for a neutral ground bar. Now, Blue Sea gives you these ground bars, but they're just screw terminals, and the wiring that I'm going to be dealing with is solid wire. So I want to look at what can I do to add maybe some terminals like this for a solid wire connection. Anyway, exactly what I'm going to do for the solid wire connection. So bottom line, I'll have two bus bars. One will be for the ground, which this is the ground, and then one will be for the neutral, and the neutral comes off of this terminal, off the circuit breaker, to create a neutral bus and a ground bar bus, which is where I'll connect my circuit, my two circuit wires, white wire and bare ground wire. Their load wires, their black wires, are going to be connected to this for the 20 amp circuit breaker. So that will be where the air conditioner black wire goes. And this will be where my TV bed outlet 15 amp circuit black wire goes. And then their corresponding white neutrals and bare wire grounds will go on these ground bars. So let me get started on figuring out how I'm going to wire this. Okay, I took a box and I cut a face out of it for my panel. I've mounted a neutral bar and a ground bar. So those are all ready to go. And now I just have to complete the connections on my panel and I can mount it on my box. Okay, I've got my wiring done on my panel. I have my inverter neutral, I have my inverter black, my air conditioner circuit black wire, my TV black, TV outlet and bed outlet black, my neutral wire going to my neutral bus bar, and my ground wire going to my ground bus bar. So I didn't cut these wires because I'm going to wait and cut them when I actually wire the Romex wire to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it inside my box and get that done. I forgot to show inside my box here, I added a ground wire, which I'm going to take back to the ground bar of my breaker box as well. So everything's all grounded to the chassis together. Okay, let me finish this up. All right, here is my panel and screwed into my box. Now then I'm going to put these little cover plates back in place. sure they click in. All right, so those are back in place. So that's what the outside of my covers looks like. And then here is the back side. I still have to hook up my neutral bar to this neutral bar, my ground wire to the ground bar down here. So then that links this ground bar to the 30 amp main breaker where the inverter output is coming in, and then this is the ground that goes to this ground bar that will connect all the grounds to this unit, you know, and the circuit grounds. So I need to do that, and then when I get into my rig, I'm actually just going to use Wago connectors to hook the stranded wire and my Romex solid wire together inside of this box. So I'm putting ferrules on all the ends of my stranded wire. I did that one as well before I put them into the ground bar. I think that makes a much better, more solid connection. Okay, so I've got that all wired now, and this is the cover that I'm going to be putting on the back. So it's plenty deep, as you can see. So for that little bit of the way that wire is curved out will be just fine. It's very flexible, so it can push in some more if it has to, but it doesn't really need to, because I've got, you know, another 3/4 of an inch or something there. So now I can go over to my rig and wire this up. All right, so here is what my final panel looks like. I did replace this cover plate. It used to say AC main, but now it says inverter, because this is the 30 amp output of my inverter. And I have two inverters, so it's the inverter that I'm using to run the air conditioner, and now TV outlets and a bed outlet. I also use this inverter for battery charging. So here's the front is done, and the back is done. So now all I have to do is go over to my rig, to my Unity, and take apart my two circuits and my inverter output connections and rewire it to all these things, that my bus bars and these positive wires. I'm going to be using Wago lever lock connectors. So I'll get on with that. All right, I've got this all ready to go. My cover's ready to go back on. I've got some strain relief connectors for my Romex wires when I push them through whichever holes I'm going to pick to use to bring them in. And I just need to get over and hook it up to my inverter and circuits. Okay, I found these Wago clip connector holders. They just fit in here and snap in place, make for a very secure fitting. And they have holes so you can mount them different ways. So I'm going to mount it back in the back of this box and attach my connectors to my wiring, and then I'll have it all set up for to be organized when I do my installation. Okay, so here's where I installed it. This is actually the top of my unit. So I put it up there on the top. All right, so I got my Wago connector holder in place. I've got all my wires connected to the Wago connector and put in place, ready for me to bring in my 10 gauge Romex, 12 gauge Romex, and 14 gauge Romex for the two different circuits. So So to recap, I'll be bringing my 10 gauge Romex in and hooking the neutral, which is this first wire. This is the neutral. Then this is the load, the black wire. And then this is my air conditioner circuit. Yep, this is my air conditioner circuit. So my black 12 gauge wire will go there. And then this is my TV outlet and I think bed circuit. So, and that's a 14 gauge. So that'll go right there. And then I'll be making the connections with the neutrals and the grounds to those bars. And so I'm all ready to connect, go into my RV and peel out the wires from my breaker box wiring right now and put them on this. Okay, so here's the breakers in my breaker box. And I'm going to be moving the entertainment, which is this one right here. I have it labeled. It's on a 15 amp breaker. So I've already loosened this. Now I can just pull this wire out. Okay, so I've pulled that out of that breaker position, of that, yeah, that breaker position. And I'll turn it off so I don't worry about it. I still have my general outlets on this breaker. So now I need to disconnect its neutral and ground wires and then pull. I don't know if you can see it, but it's this one, this wire back here. Now I just pull it out of the back because I'm going to be hooking it up with my new panel to my Xantrex inverter, which is just connected to the air conditioner at this point. It's not even represented in this breaker box. It's on its own breaker, which is this 30 amp breaker right here. Yeah, no, it's this one, 30 amp breaker. This one as the Xantrex inverter AC out, and it goes to a junction box, which is hard to see under my watchdog, which I have to move to get to my little junction box where I have the inverter and the air conditioner, where the inverter output is hooked to the air conditioner power wire. So I'll get on with that. Okay, I pulled my inverter AC out, my entertainment and my air conditioner wires out through here. So now I can go ahead and start connecting up my box. And I'm probably going to put the panel, my new circuit breaker panel, back on this wall in my TV cabinet. And here's the 3 wires I'm dealing with. So that's a nice little space for it to go. And then I can I could easily either access it from my drawers, or I'll probably just access it from my little grating that I have at the bottom of my TV cabinet. So I will get on with putting the wires in my box and connecting that all up. Xantrex inverter AC out. Neutral and load wires are connected to their proper Wago connectors, and then connected. Here's the neutral and here's the load on the 30 amp circuit breaker. And then I put the ground down here on my bare ground bar. So now I just have the 12 gauge and the 14 gauge wires to come in. I'll bring them in over here. I'll bring them in over here with another strain relief connector. and I'll get on with it. Okay, I've got my other 2 sets of wires pulled through and their strain relief tightened up. I also have my ground. I'm gonna be hooking inside my breaker box back here on the chassis ground bar. So now all I need to do is connect the bare wire and neutrals over here to these ground bars, and take these black load wires up to my last two Wago connectors. So I'll get on with that. Okay, I got all my ground wires hooked up to my ground bar and my neutrals hooked up to my neutral bar. I've got all my black wires in their proper Wago connector with the corresponding load wires for each circuit breaker. So this is all done, and I can get on with putting my cover back on and putting it in place. Okay, now I brought my ground wire in, and all I need to do now is open a screw and connect it. So I'll do that. Okay, so my panel, this is what my panel looks like. It's just inside my compartment door. So it's right around the corner, easy to reach. So let me finish. What I need to do now is get back in here, zip tie my watchdog back into place, because I had to undo everything to get to my junction box. So let me get all this. Okay, so I have my panel back on, and for those who are not familiar with the fact that I have 2 3000-watt inverters, let me explain what I have going on with that. So first of all, my shore power comes in on this 30 amp main circuit breaker, and it feeds this bus. So on this bus, I have my Kisei inverter and my Xantrex inverter. They're both on 30 amp circuit breakers. I leave the Kisei inverter, 3000-watt inverter, I leave it off. So it's not taking any input from shore power. It strictly runs this bus. So this bus, this is one bus. See right here, this crack? So this is one bus, and this is a second bus. So on this bus, my Kisei inverter out is on a 30 amp main breaker, and this breaker feeds this bus. So from this Kisei 3000-watt inverter, I'm running my microwave and water heater and general outlets. This is just a blank breaker that I leave off, just for future expansion if I need to expand anything. And okay, so my one inverter runs only off batteries because I have its shore power pickup, which is the inverter input. I have it turned off, so it doesn't get any shore power. It only runs off of battery, and it supplies these circuits: general outlets, microwave, and water heater. And then as far as shore power runs I have a special outlet that I installed over here, so I can always see what my shore power incoming power is. And I have a little voltmeter here, so I can always see that I have, when I'm plugged into shore power, that I have voltage, what the voltage is, This would also alert me if it goes dark that I lost shore power for some reason and I need to go figure that out. So this is a shore power only outlet, and that's right here. And then my Xantrex 3000w inverter, this is its AC input. So it does pick up power from this bus, and it passes through to the output of the Xantrex 3000w inverter, and that output is connected here with a 30 amp breaker on the output, and then it feeds those two circuits, the air conditioner and my TV bed outlets. So when I'm not using shore power, then the Xantrex inverter strictly powers these circuits through that 30 amp circuit breaker as the inverter output. So it runs through this panel either when I'm on shore power or when I'm just using batteries. And then lastly, I have a refrigerator outlet, which I leave off because I only run my refrigerator on 12 volt power. It's a isotherm compressor refrigerator. So this is basically, this is my two inverter circuit layout. And before, I used to just have on the Xantrex, I only had the air conditioner, so I didn't have like a separate bus or anything. But now that I have the Atmos air conditioner and it only uses like 30% less power, that gives me more room on my Xantrex 3000w inverter to add another circuit. I mean, there's no reason just to use my 3000w inverter exclusively to run the air conditioner when I could be feeding other small circuits like the TV or the outlet next to the bed, which really is just used for like the CPAP machine. So you know, it's really just small stuff. So that's perfect to be paired with the Atmos air conditioner operation. Okay, so I just wanted to explain that, and now I'm done. Okay, so now the moment of truth. I'm going to turn my house battery switch on, and inverter 1, which used to be just the air conditioner and battery charging when on shore power, but now I've added TV and bed outlets. So let's turn this on. All right, now I can turn my air conditioner on and test my circuits. Okay, and here's my new panel. I've got all green lights, so we're good to go there. I've got my air conditioner on, and my Xantrex panel shows my Xantrex 3000w inverter is putting out 120 volts of air conditioner, so that's fabulous. Fabulous high voltage power, which is exactly what you want from an inverter. All right, so I'm going to take my little 120 AC voltage tester. I'm going to go around and verify all my outlets. That works. That one works. That works. That works. And you can see it says my inverter's producing 21 volts. So these little testers are handy. But anyway, so I want to go around and test all the outlets to verify that I understand which outlets are now on my new TV bed outlet circuit, so I know exactly which outlets the Xantrex 3000w inverter is supplying, as well as running the air conditioner. and of course the battery charger when I'm plugged into shore power. So I'll go around and do that, and I'll be done with my project.